Well, maybe we'll get going here. So we'll get started. If you could mute your audio and you can turn off your video. When we get to the Q&A, then you can turn on your audio and your video. If you want to ask a question during the meeting, you can put it in the chat, and I'll take a look at those after we're done with the presentation and doing the Q&A. The handout for this meeting is available out on the PC Club website. Go to the meetings and then past meetings, and you'll see a file out there. Jim Holman will also attach it to the chat, and so if you should be able to download it from that. However, if you join after he's attached it, I guess you don't see that chat. So if you can't see it in the chat, to go out to the meetings, past meetings. Before we get to the main topic, we've got some club things to cover first. Future meeting, there is a MACSIG coming up this Friday, August 20th, and they'll cover the iPads, iPhones, information there, lessons learned, iOS shortcuts, they'll share some photos, and then they have questions there. Also, we have coming up in September our monthly Q&A, so that'll be coming up September 7th. And then our next general meeting will be September 15th at 11:30, and that'll be, the topic is summer photo sharing by Linda Brown and/or Paula. We'll see who's going to present or what they're going to do there. But they'll show how to save your favorite pictures to free software and create photo books in Shutterfly. And to do this, they're asking if you could send them up to 3 pictures that you've taken this past summer. So all the members can send some pictures to them, and please text the photos to Paula, and her number's there and her email's there. And include your first name, last name with the photos, and they're looking to get the photos by August 20th. So if you've got any good ones that you want to share, make sure and send them on to Paula there.
Yeah, this is Paula. I just wanted to report that everything there was correct. My phone number for texting and my email if you want to send it that way. And you can send 1, 2, or 3. No huge preference. Go ahead and send them, and hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. We can see some summer photos from each other.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good. Well, and see, this is my example. This is from last year. After I had watched the Tiger King, I decided to take up tiger training, and here's me training tigers. So. If you've got some fun ones, can be landscape, can be family, can be vacation that you went on, or a lake home, just about anything there. So take your pictures there.
You look pretty buff there, Tom.
Yeah, well, I was tiger training, so that was rough work there. Since that time, I've put on the COVID pounds. Okay, our officers, Jim is our president, Linda's our vice president, Paul is our membership secretary, Paula is our treasurer, Chuck Scott is our recording secretary, Mike Griffin leads the MACSIG, Andrew is our communication coordinator, I'm a director at large. We're always looking for volunteers, and certainly once we get back together and can hold some luncheon meetings and some things like that, we'll be asking for a lot more help there too. Members old and new, Paul Ebert is our membership secretary. You can send him your dues, and when your membership is expired or about to expire, you'll get a notice, and you can pay it electronically or send it in by mail. Also, a reminder to keep us updated with your email, because that's the way we send out notices and when your membership is expiring and all of that. Suggestions for topics, you can email your ideas if you have some, or you can talk to a board member. We're always looking for people to volunteer to present on some hardware software that you may be using at work or at home, or to write a short article. If you don't want to present, we have a monthly newsletter. You can put something as simple as a sentence or two, or it can be multiple pages. We're looking for input there also. Website, you can get access to the past meetings with the slides and the handouts. Also, we try and record these meetings and make those available, so those are out there. We have our deal section, our monthly newsletter, and this is the link here. And the link is also in all the emails that we send out. Okay, let's get to our main topic today, which is Microsoft Office and Alternatives by myself, Tom Kreuzer. Microsoft makes the world standard for an Office suite. And suites, by definition, is usually a word processing, spreadsheet, and a presentation. There's many competitors out there trying to match what Microsoft has, and lots of alternatives and options, and that's what we'll cover today. You can save yourself a lot of money and complexity by getting the right version that meets your needs. So there isn't one version that's right for everybody, and you'll see as we talk about the features and that, some of the things that are important there. But there's no sense getting a complex advanced word processor if really all you need is the basics. So we'll talk about some of those, and that's also the way there's free options out there, and then there's the paid options, and you want to make sure why pay for something that you can get for free if that's really all you need, and that's what we'll talk about. Okay, what do you really need? And this is going to be different for everybody. So the basics, I talked about Office Suite, and Suite is multiple packages. And probably the most used packages within those suites are the word processing and the spreadsheet. So these are kind of must-haves if you're doing anything on the computer. Having a word processor and a spreadsheet is something that you'll be using a lot there. Something like a presentation, and this, if you're familiar with PowerPoint or the new version or the new thing from Microsoft Sway, these are used by a smaller percentage of people to create presentations and things like that. Even less people need a database, and Microsoft, that's Access is the database that they include in some of their versions of Office. Some of the other suites also contain other tools that can be very helpful and are maybe integrated with the suite also. And these include things like email. So Microsoft includes Outlook in some of their versions. Video chatting tools. Microsoft includes Skype or Teams there as their integrated tool there. Drawing graphics and flowcharting. Microsoft has Publisher. Digital note-taking. Microsoft has OneNote. Math and formula editing. Microsoft has Equation Editor. And while Equation Editor isn't a separate package, it's a set of tools that is integrated into things like the word processor and spreadsheet there. Okay, what are some of the other things that you should look for or check to see in what you're getting there? Probably one of the main questions is, do you need to open, create, edit, and exchange official Office files? And these are files that end in .doc for documents, .xls for spreadsheets, and pptx for PowerPoint files. So you have to see whether you're exchanging these files with either the company you're working for, the organization, or with other people there. Most alternatives that we'll talk about will be storing the file in a proprietary format, but they do let you export or import from a Microsoft format. So all the packages, in fact, all the packages that we'll be talking about today do allow you to import and export in the Microsoft format, although as we talk later, you'll see that it's not a perfect translation. So that's one of the things you have to keep in mind. You have to determine what your needs for what file formats are supported to read or import, and what file formats are supported to save or export. And while they can all export and import these different files, it certainly can add extra time for you to read the file, make your changes, and then export it. But if you're just creating files for yourself, it's really not that important what file format it's saved in. Not all will preserve the formatting when exporting from or into Microsoft Office. This can be a problem when sending documents back and forth with people. And we'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. But examples there would be something as basic as the fonts that you define in a word processor. The package may not support those same fonts. So when you import it into that package, the font may be changed, let's say from an Arial to another font. And then when you export it, you have the same thing going on where it may change it into a completely different font there. So while the document was exported in a Microsoft format, the way it looks and the alignments and things like that can be slightly different than what the original document might have looked like. Okay, some other things to look for or requirements that you may have. There's differences between these packages, options, and alternatives, whether the software resides on your local device, so on your laptop, your desktop, your Macintosh, versus a cloud-based software where you access it through a browser. The cloud-based, the nice thing about the cloud-based is it requires nothing to be installed locally on your laptop or desktop. So it's not taking up hard disk space, very low CPU, so you can get by with an older computer. It'll run fine on. Very little memory used on your laptop or desktop. The only drawback, or one of the main drawbacks, is you do need a connection to the internet. If you don't have a connection to the internet, you can't connect to the software, so you won't be able to update or make changes. But in today's technology, with Wi-Fi available or data plans on cell phones and hotspots and things like that, people can usually connect almost anywhere in the world now. The other side of the cloud-based versus local is the file storage. Where is the file itself stored? Is it stored on your laptop or your desktop, or is it stored up in the cloud? And you'll see there's various options there. Some of the packages and that will keep it synced. If you want to have it on both spots, you can have it and then sync it. But some of them, the main source is just cloud-based. And if you wanted a copy locally, you have to export it and have it local there. The other thing to look for is what devices or operating systems are supported. So where are you going to be using this? Is it on a laptop? Is it on a desktop? Is it on a phone? Is it on a tablet? Also, what operating systems? Is it on a PC, or is it on a Macintosh? Is it on a Linux, Android? So understanding where you want to use it, that'll help you figure out what the best option you may have. Another big one may be collaboration. Now, if you're retired and you only create files that you yourself use, this isn't a big thing, or isn't really going to provide you any benefit. But if you are exchanging files and editing with multiple people there, or within products, that can be important. It's especially important in business, but you may also be involved with clubs or organizations where you want it as easy as possible for multiple people to edit and be updating the same document at the same time there. This is a lot easier to do in real time instead of physically sending a file from one person, letting them make a change, you getting it back, somebody else makes a change. So if collaboration is important, you want a product that's going to easily support that. Most of the options that we'll talk about are free, but a lot of the free options have very limited support or assistance. And that support and assistance is usually done with a forum. Go out to their website, search the forum, or ask a question, and somebody, another user of the package, may respond back. Or they have FAQs, frequently asked questions, out there. Some more things to look for. I mentioned a little bit earlier that the complexity. So all the solutions support basic features. Like if you're a word processor, yes, you can type, you can print, you can do paragraph alignments, you can change fonts, things like that. Basic features are supported by all the different packages. But not every option supports advanced features. And that can be things like macros or unlimited file size. Maybe the spreadsheet only allows you 2,000 rows. Well, if you're used to bringing in 10,000 rows, then you need a package that supports the larger size and features there. The best way to understand if you can get by with the basic features is try these options with your most complex files. So a number of these alternatives and options that I'll be talking about. Take your most complex file, open it up, see what it looks like. Can you edit it? How does it work? Does everything look good? So you can try it out before fully committing to using that package. And it's usually free of charge to try any of these. So make sure you do that, and you don't have to do it with your basic files. So as an example, I have probably a couple hundred spreadsheets, but only a handful of those spreadsheets are really complex spreadsheets. Try it on the complex stuff. If it works good for you on the complex stuff, the basic stuff you're not going to have a problem with. These are some other examples of advanced features that may not be available in some of the packages. So like in word processing, maybe it doesn't support tables. Maybe it doesn't support styles for paragraphs and multiple columns, or mail merge, or macros, or tracking changes. I also used to use in Word printing envelopes. Well, if that's an important feature for you, then you want to find a package that may support that, or you may just be limited to the higher end, buying the versions of Microsoft Office that do have that option in. Spreadsheets, some examples are things like pivot tables, or advanced charts. They all do basic charts, but the package may only support 7 different chart types and not 30 different chart types and macros again. Presentation, some of the things that I've run into in trying out some of these packages and things like that is I have master slides that I use, and some of the options don't support master slides or layout, or you need the advanced version which has designer, or it may not support animation that you put on the screen. Like the way it fills in these bullets when I hit enter one at a time, that's animation. Okay, so those are some of the things to look for when you're trying out some of the different versions or trying to find something that might work for you. We'll first start talking about some of the Microsoft options. So Microsoft now calls their package Microsoft 365. And that's the name of services that used to be known as Office 365. So within the last 6 months or whatever, or maybe a year, they changed the name from Office 365 to Microsoft 365. First version we'll talk about from Microsoft, it's called Microsoft 365 Personal. And that includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, Skype, Sway, Publisher, and Access. The price for that is $69 a year. It's a subscription service, so you have to pay that every year or you lose access to the Microsoft 365. It's only good for one user, so you can't have multiple people in the family or that using it. You can install it on up to 5 devices, and in addition to the software packages, you get 1 terabyte of OneDrive, which is their cloud storage. So not a bad deal, and certainly this is a popular option for a number of people there. The software itself runs on Windows and Mac and is loaded locally on the machine. So on the PC or the laptop, the desktop or the laptop there. And you can have local files or you can use OneDrive files and you can have it sync and copy in between there. It does provide advanced security for all your devices. You get free updates, so every time there's an update, your software will be updated there. The other nice thing is you have free unlimited chat and phone support. So if you have any questions on how to do something in Word or Excel or PowerPoint, you can call or chat with the Microsoft support. Okay. The second most popular version there would be the Microsoft Family. So this is almost exactly like the Personal, except it's geared towards a family. Price is $99 a year for the subscription, but you can have up to 6 people, and each of those 6 people can load it on 5 devices. And each of those people get 1 terabyte of OneDrive storage. So this is a good option if everyone in the house needs the power and the capabilities of the full Office suite. It has all the other same options we talked about. Software runs locally on the machine. You can have your files local or on OneDrive. Has the advanced security. You get free updates and unlimited chat and telephone support. Okay, so here's some other options from Microsoft. One of them is called Office Home and Student 2019. So this is only gets you Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. And these are full versions of the package. And that lists for $149, but you can find it as cheap as $40 out on eBay and other places there. This is a one-time charge and is only good for one user on one device. So you get no updates. That's why it has the year in there. It hasn't been updated since 2019. And so as they add new features or capabilities to the Microsoft 365, you aren't getting those new features. You're having the version as it was in 2019. There is no additional OneDrive storage. You do get free 60-day support via chat or phone. The software does run locally on your laptop or desktop, and it'll run on Mac. The files can be local or on OneDrive. If you're looking to buy this, I wouldn't recommend buying it right now, just because a new version will be coming out very soon, either the end of this year, between now and the end of this year, or the first part of next year. So they'll have a home and student 2021 or 2022, and you could buy that. Microsoft also sells similar versions of this. If you'll see versions that are sometimes called Office 2019 Professional Plus or Office 2019 Home and Business. Those also range in price from about $149 to $50. And some of them, I think the Home and Business does include like Microsoft Access. So if you need some of the other tools, you can look at some of the other options there. But kind of the stickling point is that this is a one-time fee, which is kind of nice, but you are not getting any updates. You don't get any additional storage out on OneDrive, and you can only install it on one device and one user. So if you have a laptop and a desktop, you couldn't install this and use it on both those devices at the same time. Okay, this is the last version that Microsoft Office or that Microsoft offers, and it's called Office on the Web. It was formerly known as Office Online. This includes basic versions of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. So these are kind of stripped down versions with the basic features and functions. It is cloud-based, so you access it through a browser, and your files are stored up on OneDrive. If all you need are the basics, this is an option worth trying before paying for features that are available in all those other versions that we've talked about so far. You do need to sign up for a Microsoft account. When you create a Microsoft account, you get 5 gigabytes of OneDrive storage. If you need more than that, you can buy storage for $1.99 a month for 100 gigabytes of storage. And then I have a link here that can be very helpful if you're looking to compare how does this Office on the Web version compare to the full version of Office. So let's take a look there if this link works. So this is a Microsoft document that is comparing them, and I'll scroll down here, and you'll see here's Word, and it says these various features, whether they're available in Word on the web, and whether they're available in the desktop app. So the Microsoft 365, is it available in there? And obviously all these features are available there. The web doesn't have alignment guides and live layout, doesn't have captions, doesn't have citations and bibliography, doesn't have advanced collaboration. So you can take a look at what's supported and what isn't in here. And this is Word, and they go through literally hundreds of features here. Then they also have for Excel, what's the difference between the free version and the paid versions here. And you can see what features it has. You also see it for OneNote, and you also see it for PowerPoint. So it's kind of a nice little deal to help you check to see what features are available there. Okay, we'll do just a quick demo here. So the way that I get to this Office on the web is through a browser. I go out to www.office.com, and we'll start it up here. And now I'm out at the website, so I didn't have to load any software locally on my machine. I do have access to all these packages. There's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneDrive, Teams. These are all versions out on the web there. I can go into, let's say, a Word here. If I want to create a new document, I can use a number of templates. This doesn't have the full templates that you have in the full paid version, but you have quite a few templates here. So if I wanted to create a new document, I can say, give me a blank document, and it'll start up, and back here. And so, I mean, I could start typing and I could start doing stuff. You can see I've got all the basics. Again, all the basics are here. I can change fonts. I can highlight, indent, add bullets, things like that. But if I go to File, there aren't as many options as in Microsoft 365, the full version. And that's true of any of these for inserting. You don't have as many things. You don't see tables and a few other things. So it's not as full function, but it has, again, the basics, which probably would work for maybe 50% or more of the people in the PC club are not using advanced features anyway.
Tom, assuming it accesses files both on a local hard drive as well as the cloud?
No, it can't. So when I mentioned there that it accesses files off of OneDrive, so
OneDrive.
if you want to, all you do is you can drag and drop from your local up to OneDrive. You can make your changes there, and the changes are stored there. If you want it back on your local drive, then you export it, and you can export it back. So it is geared around operating off of OneDrive for creating and editing files, which is good. Which is good because it's automatically backing it up. You have version control. You can go back to versions, which a lot of people don't do with their local files.
Unless you're still a little paranoid about having PII and other information that might be in Excel spreadsheets in the cloud. That's a personal decision.
Right. All the information we've talked about the cloud, and this is true of, we'll talk about Google Docs and that too. All of these services, it's encrypted files. So if anyone in the company went out to the cloud directories and that, they would see garbage. They can't see anything unless they have your user ID and password to be able to unencrypt the files. But we won't go into that. But this is all saved to OneDrive, and you don't have an option there. Once you have it here, then I could export it and to a file and download it and that. So you can move it, but it's the extra steps to move it around. Okay. So you have that's basically the way that it's working there. You can create and like I said, try it out with your most advanced files. Try the things that you want. See if it does the things that you really need. Okay, now we'll talk about some of the alternatives. So those are the options that were available from Microsoft if you wanted their products. And they range in price from free to the $99 a year for a family there. But if you're looking for other options, there are a lot of other options. And probably the most popular is Google. And Google is out there, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Forms, Google Meet, Google Chat, and Gmail. Google offers free, cloud-based, so it again, similar to the Microsoft Office version that we just looked at, is available only through a browser, and your files are up on the Google Drive. So similar type of deal. You can upload your local files to Google Drive, but you're editing and you're maintaining them on the Google Drive there. There are apps for the Android and iOS, so to make it easier to pull up files, to look at or edit files if you're using tablets and smartphones. Again, similar to the Microsoft browser solution, if all you need are the basics, this is an option worth trying before paying for versions that you features you may never use. You do need a free Google account. If you have a Google account, that comes with 15 gigabytes of Google Drive storage. If you need more than that, you can buy it for $1.99 a month for 100 gigabytes. Google does sell a version called Google Workspace, and that's for businesses. And that starts at $6 a month per user. But I won't talk about that here. I'm just talking about for personal use. The free version is what you get, and that comes with the basics, and you can get storage if you need it. It does use web fonts, so you may have some conversion issues, like I talked about with fonts looking a little bit different, or paragraphs breaking and page breaks a little different than what you may have had using Microsoft Word locally on your machine. Some of the advanced features, so Google comes with basic features, but there are some advanced features which can be added. So there's third parties that have created these free plugins to give you some integrations there. So kind of similar if you're familiar with browser extensions. This is kind of like a browser extension for Google Docs and Sheets and Slides, where different people have created these tools to help you do some of the more advanced features that Google did not provide. Personally, I use this option for most of my files. So all of my basic stuff and things like that, I store those files in Google. And even the PC Club files, I also do all of those in Google also. Okay, let's do a little demo. So I'm going to click on this. This will again go out to our browser, and it's going to open my Google Drive here. And this opened my Google Drive. I have some folders here, but I can also get at, if I wanted to get at the individual applications. If you're not familiar, you can go up here and I can click on Google Apps, and this gives me access to all the different applications. And you'll see there's Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. So if I click on Google Docs, for instance, and this looks somewhat familiar here. Here's if you wanted to create a brand new blank template. If I wanted to create one, or I wanted to use one of these templates, I could. And these are some recent documents I was working on. So here's the handout for today. So if I click on this, let's open that up in here. And so you can see, similar to the Word and stuff like that, you can see the bullets, the WYSIWYG. I have full control over my fonts, the file. I've got a few more options than Microsoft has. So from a feature standpoint, Google Docs has a few more things in it than the basic online Microsoft Word. So you do have more capabilities there with what you're doing. But both of them, again, will do all the basics. Just start typing what you want. It's got version control. I can get back to a version I created yesterday or a month ago. I can get back to any of those. You've got the spelling, thesaurus, everything else there. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, here's another alternative. And this alternative is Libra Office. It comes with Writer, which is their word processor, Calc, which is the spreadsheet, Impress, which is the presentation, Draw, Math, and Base. And Base is their database. And it's free. They don't sell a paid version. This runs on Windows, Macs, and Linux with files local or remote. So you're loading it up on your laptop or your desktop. It's based on OpenOffice, and we'll talk a little bit later about another option called Apache Office. That's built from the same code base, the public domain base of code that people have contributed time and effort to add the features and functions that are in it. And so this is all free, no paid version. It has a very strong and dedicated user base who rave about the features and the functionality. It has a flexible interface that can look and feel a lot like Office, but it doesn't have any integrated cloud storage because this is an open source software. There isn't a company behind it. There is really no advertising behind it. As such, they don't have a big bank of servers to do cloud storage or anything. You can connect it to Google Drive or to Microsoft OneDrive, but it doesn't offer its own cloud storage solution. And it doesn't collaborate, doesn't have collaboration tools for both simultaneous editing or like, let's say, embedding a worksheet inside of a Word document, that kind of thing. It does include a database. Most of the other free options that I'll talk about don't have a database. So if you want to have a free database and do some stuff like that, this is probably the main option for you. I do highly recommend this. I use it myself, and I use this free option if I need more than the basics for what I can get out of Google Docs. And this, like I say, if Microsoft Office does everything you need, go with that. If Google Docs does everything that you need, go with that. But if you need more than that and you want a free version, LibreOffice is probably the most powerful free option there. And so let's do a little demo there. Let's see here, where am I? And I've started it up. It is running locally on my laptop here. So this is not through a browser. And you can get at the various packages here, or you can, again, open existing files that you had or that you were recently had open here. And so let's open up the file for the Microsoft demo here. And it's an open source. Again, there's no ads in here. And it's entirely free. There's no version that you could upgrade to or pay more for. You can see this does have more features and functions than we saw on Google Docs or the Microsoft Online version. You have a lot more controls, and these are controls that you usually are advanced type controls. So LibreOffice itself is giving you an awful lot of features and functions for styles and tables and things like that, forms that you can create. Mail merge that you can do, macros, so it does have a lot of capabilities there. And we won't go too much into that right now. Let me go back here. Some more alternatives. So if you have a Macintosh, or even if you don't have a Macintosh, there is a free option, and then it's called Apple Office Suite. Sometimes called iWorks. That has Pages, which is their word processor, Numbers, and Keynote. It is free. It runs on the Mac. with files locally or in the Apple iCloud. So this online version from the iCloud, anyone can access it for free in the iCloud. It again is good for the basics. So the Microsoft file export and compatibility is a problem with some of the fonts and layouts. But if you have a Mac, certainly this is an option to look at. If you don't have a Mac, I'd recommend a Google Docs over something like this, but it can work and provide you the basics. Another one is Apache OpenOffice. I mentioned earlier the Libra Office started out from the same code base as Apache there. It's open source, meaning there's no paid version, there's no ads in there. There is a writer, calc, compress, draw, database, and math. Runs on the same same platforms as the Libra, Windows, Mac, and Linux. It's open source suite. Complex macros and functions may have problems. It's weak for presentation. So again, if you want the open source, I'd recommend the LibreOffice over the Apache OpenOffice. Another popular, well, I shouldn't say popular, but another option out there that some people use is WPS. There's WPS Writer, Spreadsheet, Presentation. It's free, but you do have ads. You can pay $30 a year to not have the ads. It runs on Windows, Mac, Linux, and Android, and does come with 1 GB of free cloud storage. Its customizable interface lets you decide what to use. It also supports tab document editing. Another option is FreeOffice, text maker, plan maker, and presentations. It's free, runs on the following platforms. You can choose classic Windows menus or a modern ribbon. The nice feature about this is it also includes a free Flex PDF Basic, which gives you a lot of the Adobe PDF editor functions for free. So if you're looking to modify PDFs and do things like that, this package has additional capabilities that the other options don't have. But one of the drawbacks I saw in the reviews, I haven't personally used it, is there's no thesaurus. This last option is Zoho Docs. They have a writer, sheet, and show. They have a free version, and they have paid versions that range up to $80 a year. It's cloud-based and includes Zoho Cloud Storage. It has, very good sharing and collaboration. I'd say this is really geared for companies that hate or don't like Microsoft or Google. So many companies don't want to support Microsoft or Google, and they'll go to Zoho Docs. For personal use, the cost of $68 a year. Well, you might as well buy the real Microsoft Windows 365 for that kind of price. But there are companies that have adopted this as their corporate solution, like Nike and the BBC, because they didn't want a Microsoft or a Google solution. Okay, some other information here. I mentioned here, do not do a Google search and search for free Microsoft Office. So some people will think, I'll just go out to Google, I'll search for downloading the full version of Microsoft for free there, and I'll be able to use it. If you do that, there's millions of links out there, but I can guarantee you 100% of those sites will install a virus on your machine or are a scam to get your credit card or sell you other services. So don't go out searching for things and installing software that way. That's a good way to get a virus. I'll also mention I really love Microsoft OneNote. I load it locally on my laptops, desktops, and phones and that. There is a free download, or you can use it cloud-based. It's great for note-taking software and free-form for gathering and multi-user collaboration. If you're familiar with the software Evernote, actually OneNote, I believe, has a bigger market share now than Evernote has. It lets you gather notes, drawings, screen clippings, and audio commentaries. So I use it to dump thoughts and suggestions and keep track of things as if I had a notebook, physical notebook in front of me. I can just kind of dump things in there, organize it, and then in some cases I then create Word documents or spreadsheets, or for presentations like this, I'll dump different thoughts and ideas and web pages and sites, and then when I'm ready to create the presentation, I bring all the stuff together there. The OneNote, like I mentioned, is free for the basic version. The advanced version, you can get an advanced version. I've never had to had a need for the advanced features, so I haven't paid for it, but I highly recommend the package itself. In a similar deal, Microsoft came out with Sway, and Sway is a free presentation program that lets you create slideshows, newsletters, resumes, blogs, and more. And there are some additional features in a paid version. Personally, I haven't tried it yet. I'm old school. I started out with PowerPoint, know how to do everything in PowerPoint or in a presentation package like that. So I haven't had a need to try out Sway yet, but it's something that if I have some time, I'll certainly take a look at and see what it has to offer. But personally, I haven't tried it yet. Okay, that's the end of the presentation. So what I'm going to do is we'll minimize some of this stuff here, and let me go here, and we'll check the chat. If you do want to ask a live question, you can chime in that, but we'll take a look at the chat here in a second. Okay. Here's today's handout. Mitch asks, can you upload to the free office.com? Yeah, uploading your documents, like Chris Bertoy had asked that, you can upload and download. So that's importing and exporting from both Google Docs and from the Microsoft Online there. But for most people, I'd recommend just keeping it up there in the cloud, in the iCloud, or not the iCloud, the OneDrive for Microsoft, or the Google Drive for Docs. It's backed up. It's much more secure than having it on your PC. Your PC is more vulnerable to getting a file stolen off of it than these cloud services. Okay, Paula asks, can we still store files on the thumb drive? Any downloads besides limited, any downsides besides limited storage? You can move things to the thumb drives. The question is, why would you want to move it to a thumb drive? Because the beauty of cloud storage is I can go on any device, my laptop, my desktop, my phone, my tablet, and I have access to that. If I have to share it with somebody, I can share it with anybody that I want to. I can give them permission, or I can share it with the entire world. So the PC files, the handouts and the slides and stuff like that, I share that to the entire world. So there's no need, if I had to have a thumb drive and pass it around, and cloud storage, people have to stop thinking about having these files on other devices there. The only reason that you might want to have it on another device is for backup. and that's an entirely different situation. But if you start putting it on your local machine and you don't have synchronization turned on, you're not going to know which is the most current version of the file or where it resides. And you'll have multiple versions on a thumb drive, on your hard drive, on the cloud, and that really just gets confusing there. Okay, let's see. I think that I'm not seeing any others there. Anybody else have any question or comment there? Feel free to speak up or. And like I mentioned before, if you're looking to try out some of these, take your your hardest document or spreadsheet, your biggest spreadsheet, or something that has charts or different things in there, or you've got now. I have had trouble with spreadsheets that link from one spreadsheet to another spreadsheet. So again, if you do a lot of that, then you'll have to see which version is going to work for you there. If you have multiple tabs within a spreadsheet, I've never had a problem with any of these packages with referencing other tabs within the same file itself. But when you start going outside the file, that can be more complicated, and that's where an issue can pop up there. Any other questions or comments there? Let's do this. Let me do that. Let's go back to Teams.
A lot of good options there.
Yeah, lots of options, and kind of like I said, not everybody needs the full version of Microsoft, and so you don't have to be paying that $69 a year or $99 a year. And if you don't need that, and in my experience, I would say between half and 3/4 of the people don't need that power. So you can get by with these basic versions, and the basic versions usually have more features and functions than most people are ever going to get around to using. The one thing I will show here is I'll do my desktop. I'll share my desktop once more here. So let me do this. So this is Google Drive, and actually the Microsoft is going to work exactly the same way. This is Google Drive here. One of the things that you can do is, yes, I could go up here and click on the new drive, and you'll see there's file upload or uploading an entire folder. You can do that. But if I have File Manager, so here I have File Manager pointing to a directory there. And so here's a file, Best Apps of 2020. I can just take this and drag and drop it. So if I drag it over here, you'll see it lets me, and if I wanted to put it in one of these folders, I could. Let's just stick it up here. And it uploaded it, and I had it stick it right here. I can double click on it. I can be editing it in seconds there. So you can easily upload, download, do things there. Google is trying to keep it in its original format here, but you'll see there's options to save it in the Google Sheets format or to export it and and do things like that. So you're in control of what the package can do for you there.
There's a new question in the chat.
Okay. Can you sort by columns in a Google spreadsheet? Yes, you can sort by columns, at least in Google Docs. I also use filtering, which is you can filter by the values that are in the column. I'll do that. You do have a lot of capabilities, so don't be scared off when I say basic functions. Basic functions is pretty wide on what's supported. It's best if you kind of go out there and take a look. And you can also look at that link that that first link from Microsoft that compared their online version to their desktop version. You can look in there and take a look, because again, in a typical copy of Word or Excel, you have probably 1,000 functions in there. I don't know anyone that's using all 1,000 functions in there. You may use this narrow band of functions, and those are usually just the basic functions. And you know whether you've used kind of some of the advanced stuff, and some of the advanced stuff may be things like mail merge. So if you've created a Word document and you use mail merge to a database to pull in addresses and names and fill in form letters, that's an advanced feature. That doesn't translate well between packages. So again, if that's an important feature for you, then you want a package that you can do that in. But most people don't use that. Okay. Oh, she's saying, I don't think my Google spreadsheet headers look like yours. Let's go back here. If nobody else has a question, I'll open back up Google here. And let me share my desktop first here. So let me go back here. So this is the way you sort in, and well, let's let it continue loading here. Now it's loaded. Now it's a case of if I wanted to sort this has filtering. So that's what these little arrows are. If I wanted to filter this column, I can use the filter button there. So just filter the ones that cost money or are blank or whatever. I can filter by that. The sorting, the way you do sorting in the spreadsheet is you typically would highlight what you want to sort, and I'm not going to highlight the whole thing now, but we'll just highlight here, go up to data, and then here's sort. So you can then set your sorts if it's one column or multiple columns. You can change your sort range, but it's done in the data. That's the way you sort. You first usually select your data that you want to sort, go up, and then you can choose what columns and in what order you want it. Okay. Any other question? Okay, Bonnie says, I'm familiar with filtering and sorting in Microsoft, but it's not the same in Google Docs. I'll need to look at Google.
When are we going to get back together as a group?
When 3M allows it. I mean, that's all I can. I don't know if Jim wants to chime in, but we'd like to get back together. But at this particular point, 3M is not going to allow retirees into the buildings. Only essential employees are allowed into any of the buildings right now.
And this is Jim. In addition, we went back to phase 1. We were moved into phase 2, but we're back to phase 1 vaccinated or not, we have to wear masks in the common areas, maintain the social distancing, etc. But it was that you didn't have to wear a mask, but now we're back to everybody has to wear masks if they're. I don't have to wear it in my office, but if I'm out in the lab or in common areas, I'm wearing a mask again. And everybody is. That's required. And they had it open that we could have small meetings, and there were requirements about how you would do that. Right now, I haven't seen. Well, maybe there is an official word. I have to read it more carefully about meeting in person now. I think is backed up to that's going to be discouraged. I'd rather that we meet online as opposed to having any meetings in person, and the conference rooms have still been closed in our building, so it will be some time yet.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
Al, you have your hand up?
Yeah, oh yeah, I guess Al.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not seeing how to get the chat into the chat here, but can you do mailing lists with these Google Docs?
I did not with the online Microsoft or the Google Docs there. If you use LibreOffice supports that, because usually to do the mailing lists, you need either a database or a spreadsheet with the rows and columns of the addresses that you want or the fields that you want in there. And Google Docs does not, as far as I know. Now, I haven't checked those third-party add-ins, so there may be something in there, but I'd be kind of surprised if they supported it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, if there aren't any other questions, I think we've got the MaxSig coming up on Friday, and then the Q&A first Tuesday in September, and then our next meeting is going to be on the photo sharing. And as a reminder, get a 1 to 3 photos to Paula there. You can send it to her text or to her email, and if you don't have that original email, or the last email, send them to me and I'll forward it on to Paula there. Otherwise, thanks for joining today.
Thank you.